Hi everybody. I had no intention of getting us together before mid-January, as I said the last time we were talking, but this is an important national watershed moment. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. These are exceptional circumstances. And as you know, here in the court of public opinion, we do not tiptoe through the tulips. A lot of chest beating, warm and supportive platitudes, global media coverage, and universal horror at what happened during this Bondi Beach attack on the Jewish community of Sydney, which is the Jewish community of Australia. I hope that this is the wake-up call that I believe it could be, should be. I begin this posting with an observation. Not one imam or mufti or Muslim cleric that I have seen has condemned this attack. The socialist Labour government in Canberra only took a few hours to announce its solution to this sort of Islamic terror. There was going to be a review and a tightening of the gun laws. Well, that's easy. But not the solution, and not even the problem. It isn't the gun, it's the person who has it. We already have probably the toughest gun laws in the world, but Labor has a tricky problem with 4 New South Wales Muslim seats in southwestern Sydney that they cannot afford to lose, which is why they are pro-Palestine. I don't think the government should have recognised the Palestinian state, which, by the way, doesn't even exist. But it's truly amazing that they could do a pivot, a pirouette, with a triple pike, backflip, whatever. No, it isn't an Islamic problem, it's a gun law problem. Well, good luck with that, old son. Every socialist government since Hitler and Stalin have been obsessed with the disarming of the population. That's their first step. Watch it. If this government is serious about, what's the line, wrapping itself around the Jewish community, which I applaud, they have to do something real, something genuine to protect them from those people who are sworn enemies of Israel and every Jew everywhere. 6 years ago, ASIO were investigating this family, the alleged Bondi Beach killers, accused of killing 15 innocent Jewish people and wounding 27 more. People celebrating Hanukkah on Sunday. No, it wasn't. It was Saturday afternoon. The Festival of Light, Hanukkah. Hard to say Happy Hanukkah in these circumstances, isn't it? These alleged killers were apparently associated for some time with Islamic State. They had the flags in the car with the bombs, the literature, the brochures. Murderous, violent, insane Islamic terrorists. I think probably universally recognised as such. And they are here, ladies and gentlemen. The son tried to get to Syria. He wanted to start a guerrilla war here in Australia. He'd called himself the commander of the Islamic State of Australia. Good God. At this point, with 6 licensed guns in the family, he should have been stopped. How big is his cohort? I don't doubt he's got some sort of chain of command. There's something going on there. He should have been kicked out of the country then and there. I wouldn't have cared what the High Court said. It would obviously end up there. This tragedy at Bondi Beach has nothing to do with gun laws. Many Jews say that it is safer to live in Israel than in Australia. And you know why? Because it's very common for people in Israel, Tel Aviv, wherever, to carry a gun. Who is armed? Who isn't? A big worry if you're a terrorist. They are cowards, remember. This has got a lot to do with a Labour government that will not play hardball with Islamic extremists in Australia. Politically, they don't want to do it. This is not to say that there aren't terrific Muslims in this world. The guy who tackled one of the alleged killers at Bondi, for example, fantastic, lauded all over the world. But I can tell you, if this government declares war on law-abiding Australian gun owners and collectors, that is a lobby, ladies and gentlemen, I would not want to have turned loose on me. Much has been made of the great Australian ideal, multiculturalism. We welcome all people regardless of race, religion, political affiliation. What's the other thing? Oh, sexuality. Yeah, sexuality. Well, you just can't. You just can't. And be good custodians of the country. You can't help people who want to kill you, who hate you. This was a terrible but preventable tragedy at Bondi Beach. I get the feeling that this woke government would think it un-Australian to make sure that an immigrant or refugee was not a zealot, a threat, an extremist. And not just a threat to Jews, but also Christians. It says quite clearly in the Quran, smite the infidel. Which, as I understand it, means kill the infidel. That's us. Why do we regard it as a virtue that we are prepared to tolerate and accept the risk that some of these people clearly represent? Now, I know we have ASIO who do a fantastic job, outstanding job. But to show that we are a tolerant, accepting society costs us a huge amount of money and exposes us to an unacceptable and unnecessary risk and threat. And it doesn't always work, as we have just seen. Does political correctness prevent us from asking pertinent questions of, say, people seeking a gun licence, for example? We all get asked at every turn, are you an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander? I don't know why that's important. It might be much, much more important to gather background information from other groups. I firmly believe that national security begins at the borders. If you are serious, sworn to stamp out anti-Semitism in Australia, which Mike Burgess, brilliant guy, I love him, head of ASIO, describes as our greatest threat, there are ways you can do it. But I'll bet they won't. Clearly, when people, nationalities, religions, openly proclaim their hatred of Jews and the Jewish state, it's a no-brainer. No-brainer. You just don't let them in. Stop the problem before you have to deal with it. Like this full-on terrorist attack in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. If you don't know the eastern suburbs of Sydney, the suburbs I refer to: Bondi Junction, Dover Heights, Willara, Vaucluse, Double Bay, Bellevue Hill, probably even Point Piper, are very Jewish suburbs. A clear clear target for Islamic extremists. Islam is an obvious problem. Maybe not the only one, but it's right there, under this government's nose. Of course, if you stopped all Muslim immigration into Australia, it would be highly discriminatory. And we would get hell to pay from the United Nations. You could see it coming, couldn't you? I would say bugger the United Nations. The only other way would be close surveillance of any cohort that could be a threat. But that just isn't practical. I don't know how many people make up Asia, but you'd never have enough people to do it. It's important to remember, note, that not all Muslims are terrorists. But it seems that most terrorists are Muslims. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe you can, when we get back around the dining room table, if we have a Muslim who can ring and tell me why. Is it the teachings? Is it what goes on in the mosques? I don't know. There is something terribly, terribly wrong with Islam. The teachings of the Prophet are there for everyone to read. Now, Pete has shown me some of the verses. I find it incredible. Would the authorities allow a book into the country that advocated, encouraged child abuse, underage marriage, honour killings, the stoning of women, Sharia law, death to all Jews, the destruction of the Jewish state? Why is that book not banned? Why? Freedom of religion or something. It's okay, come in, kill me. What are they saying? This sort of stuff, I am told, is preached in mosques all over Australia, probably all over the world. Where does most global trouble come from? If you go around, have a look. Have a look at Africa. Have a look at Afghanistan, Pakistan. Have a look. Islam. This Albanese government can take guns from ordinary Australians, but won't upset the Muslim vote. Albanese wouldn't accept this. But we are essentially a Christian country with established Western values. If you come to this country and your values are in conflict with ours, you can always leave. Or you can leave your religion and values at the door. Leave the past, embrace the great Australian family and a fantastic future that you wouldn't have in the old country. But you can't set up a little satellite suburb country regime, separate flag. You can't do that. Just be fair. You know the old, when in Rome, do as the Romans? Be fair. We could not go to Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates and do anything like that. You would be deported immediately. Go to an Islamic country and the strict Islamic laws, the strict laws of Islam would be imposed upon you and enforced immediately. And why not? It's their country. If you don't like that, don't go there. Why can't we do the same right here in Australia? Once the Trojan horse, if I could put it that way, the Trojan horse of a foreign country, regime, religion, is here without restriction, there is the potential to basically lose the country. You see why I came back to talk to you about this today? I couldn't have sat on all of this in my head, if I could put it that way. I don't usually sit on my head, if you understand. But I could not have waited till mid-January to talk to you about this. Remember that Anthony Albanese is a politician. He is not a patriot. He's certainly not an orator. He is not a nationalist. He has one interest, and that is staying in office and keeping his snout in the trough. along with the many others. And as for Islam, I have still not heard, maybe you have, but I have not heard one word of condemnation or criticism from a mufti, an imam, or a cleric. The Jews say, stop the hate. What does Islam say? I'll leave it with you. I will leave it with you. Try to have a Merry Christmas, if you can, a happy and holy Christmas. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. May God bless you and be with you. And from Pete and me, we'll see you next year.